And here we have it. The best kind of content on the whole internet is let's take a dump on millennials. Yay! Speaking as a millennial myself, and there's a few times people have gone, "Alright, boomer." It's like, do I look old enough to be a boomer, my son? No, I don't think so. Right? Spare me the whole boomer thing. I'm millennial, and I'm not proud of it. Okay, and millennials aren't the worst. I think Generation X, I've got a lot to answer for. They're the ones that think they're super cool, punk rock and all this nonsense. The children of the summer of love, as I like to call it, the summer of STDs. Yeah, they think they're well heavy. But, we see you virtue signaling just as hard as millennials these days. So this focuses, millennials' manners are a defense mechanism against a hostile world. Now, that would be the sort of view that a Guardian columnist would have. It does come across as a bit, come on. We all need to shape up and grow some, don't we? Young people care more about etiquette online than in real life, research reveals. Well, it's research, so there is that. Are millennials? Sorry, I've got a bit of Korean chicken wing sauce on my keyboard there. That's not very clever, is it? Are millennials selfish and rude, or do they just define etiquette differently to older people? And if the latter's true, is that just to stop themselves going mad? Okay, well, this is a bit of a twist on what they're about to get into, I think. Because etiquette is etiquette. Let's keep that in mind. A survey published last week. It wasn't last week, because this article's from a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago now. And by the time you're watching this, who knows when it was published, all right? Spare me your anger. Found that this survey found that 42% of millennials, people reaching young adulthood in the early 21st century, defining adulthood these days is very difficult. Obviously, man-children are everywhere. A new Star Wars film is coming out, and just go and queue up there and see all the grown people dressed up as stormtroopers and Ewoks. And you tell me these people are adults. I dare you. Anyway, wouldn't give up their seat for somebody elderly or pregnant on public transport. 42%! Wow. Well, that's a lot. That's quite a lot of, inconsiderate bastards out there, for sure. Why would you, that's one of my pet peeves, man, is like people not giving up their seats. I do it all the time. We all get tired. Buses are horrible. But these people are old and pregnant. Imagine if someone was old and pregnant. Well, they need to sit down. And it always annoys me when there's fat people. I hate it when fat people... I've had fat people look at me and when I'm sat down and go, no, you don't count. There's not a sign for you. There's a sign. There's no sign for fat people. There's a sign. The fact that there has to be a sign to remind you about etiquette. It's not a legal thing, You know you shouldn't smoke, but they just remind you, don't smoke. Some of them you shouldn't drink. But then there's just a sign to remind people of how to be courteous in life. Isn't that fascinating? A bit like when you go to a special needs college and there's a sign. Well, actually, it's at Maine. It was actually the university I went to. They had a sign. So I guess everyone's special needs now. But there's a sign, telling you to wash your hands after you've done your business in the bathroom. Just reminding you of your duties to society. So that's what does that mean for society? Well, it's open to interpretation, isn't it? While almost 1 in 3 would ignore a queuing system. That's not very British, is it? However, more than a third of those surveyed thought it impolite to ignore people on social media. I apologise for that. While other objections included text being read over people's shoulders and program spoilers. This is incredibly narcissistic values you got here. But remember, she says, if the latter is true, is that just to stop themselves going mad? Against a hostile world where people are reading over your shoulder your texts and spoiling your favourite program. and ignoring you on Facebook. This is hostile. This is a hostile world. This is hostile behavior. We will not stand for this hostility. Maybe that's why they think, fascism is on the rise, because even the mildest bit of hostility is quite disturbing for them. So young people, I don't know why she's put capitals in that as if that's an organisation. The organisation of young people. So young people, let's get this straight. Jabs accusing crone-like finger. Alright, she's trying to make a visual metaphor there. Sitting on a train or bus while a pregnant woman or elderly person stands is absolutely fine. But if someone accidentally mentions what happened in an episode of Stranger Things you haven't seen, that's downright rude. Sheesh, priorities. Well, I'm glad this woman has acknowledged the lunacy within the findings of this survey. Right. Not that stereotyping millennials as antisocial and selfish works. No. Stereotyping never works unless you're, a comedian. That recent cheering surge of last-minute electoral registering was said to mainly come from millennials. Moreover, in the Extinction Rebellion era, God, where is this going? Older people would have a damn nerve accusing the young of being disengaged. Oh dear, what are you saying? Still, it's intriguing that there's a tendency among millennials to prioritize online etiquette over real-life manners. It would seem to reverse what's generally presumed about online conduct. Aren't people supposed to feel emboldened to behave worse online? Maybe that's tragic older types who still haven't managed to get over the novelty of the internet's cloak of invisibility. No, trust me, that's not a thing. I stream on Twitch a lot, and there's always very young people coming in and going, gay. That's the thing that happens. In contrast, younger people take it so for granted that they have developed a far greater sense of accountability for their online identities. Well, that's because it's an online identity. It's kind of, there's the two identity thing going on. That's why virtue signaling is so popular, because they're online and it's like, I've got to look like I'm a really good person. Whereas in real life, they're a piece of shit. We all know this. I thought everyone knew this. You can go around virtue signaling all you want online, but in real life you ain't doing nothing. You're going, we've got to, you'd be like, we need to save the trees, and then you go and piss on one. This is what these people are. Come on, let's get real about this. Just being polite online and being an asshole in real life is completely backwards. Certainly, it's interesting. Plus, it's bizarre. You're going to be polite online, but whereas you're not going to be polite in real life, when you could actually get punched in the face for your impoliteness. It doesn't make sense to me, and then probably cry about it. Oh, what a violent, hostile world. Anyway, it's interesting to think that some younger humans prefer to exist in their most realized form in the online world, even developing better manners there. It's because so many more people can see it. Do you not get it? It's narcissistic. You're open to potentially the whole world seeing you online. You can mess up online and get destroyed. That's the difference. You can lose your job. All kinds of stuff can happen from having just a one simple faux pas online. We discovered this a few years ago. Remember the girl who was made junior police commissioner or something? This was years ago. This is like one of the first cancels. It's one of the OG cancels. And then they brought us some texts of hers when she was like 14, saying some racy, saucy things. Some not very good things. But she was 14. And then they destroyed her. That's why you're more polite online. It's got nothing to do with you developing better etiquette. It's because the consequences of your online persona can have big repercussions in the real world. Whereas you can walk around being your normal self, your asshole self, in the real world, and not many people are going to take notice of what you've done unless you do something really horrendous, like, murder, stuff like that. Right? Do you get it? Because now you're sounding like an old, out-of-touch person. Because you don't really understand how it all works. Anyway. Meanwhile, back on planet Earth, they're barging through queues, not opening doors, and ambling around semi-detached almost as though other people are made of pixels in the real world. It's no, because they're completely entrenched in online behaviour. That's all they got. That's all they care about. I don't know. All of which is mystifying until you take a look at what comprises reality for many young folk. Here we go. Get your mini violin and play a little song. It'll be a very sad one and you can cry along. Right. I made that up on the spot. Sue me. I'm good. Right. Millennials have plenty to feel disengaged about in a world where they've been shafted out of real-life futures at every turn. Economic, professional, climate. Even the climate hates them. Home ownership, affording to have children, everything. All that's a load of nonsense because the state can pay for your kids. Like, I know people pushing out babies who never had a job. It's fine. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Had all this been our lot when we were young, maybe we'd also have opted to be our better selves, living our best lives in an online reality. No, not at all. In fact, the more adversity people experience, kind of the more polite a lot of them are. Like, I'm in freaking Thailand, man. There's some very poor people here. They're all smiles and politeness. You know? And Cambodia, I went to Cambodia. They're even poorer. And they were so polite to me every day, it made me sick. I was like, can you stop saying hello to me and being nice? This is really awful. How dare you be nice to me? You know, literally sat there just in a pair of pants covered in dirt with just a stone. That's their only possession. Hey, how you doing? You alright, mate? Well, hey! Alright? I know I'm being a bit, woo, but, hello? Ridiculous. It's like standing up for your, you know, this is what child murderers' parents are like going, well, you know, he has had a hard time at school. That's why he killed that. That's why he shot up the school. Well, millennials should realise that they exist in the real rather than the virtual world. Older people need to realise that millennials are becoming dangerously detached from a world that keeps kicking them in the teeth. Alright. That said, have a heart, millennials. Let the pregnant women sit down. Oh, well, not the old people. Where's the mention of the old people? Alright, that's the end. It goes on to another article. I remember that. Well, what about the old people? You piece of shit. Oh, nothing said for the old? It's the disrespect of the old people that really, really bothers me. Do you know who the most vulnerable people are in society? Children and the old. Because when they get old, their brains get mushy. And when they're young, their brains are mushy. And that's why we have to guide them and protect them. Be kind to them. Give them a bit of bloody respect. Oh, but no pregnant women can sit down, but not the old people. You don't want to come across me. I'll write you a very harsh letter. It'll be very harsh. Really harsh. Without swearing, without threatens. That's like threatens, yeah? I ain't going to put no threatens in there, yeah? But it'll be harsh. It'll be within the boundaries of the law. But my God, it'll be harsh. It'll be respectful, but very harsh, this letter I'm sending you. Alright? So you best watch out for that. Alright? You'll recognise my handwriting. It's super cool. Just shut up. That's all I got to say to that. It's like, look, I'm fed up of everyone defending the failures and the weaknesses of my generation. Because I know what it is. I had a realization. I was like, right, that's what, you know, this is what it is. Sorry, that's really disgusting. Apologize. I didn't really spit. I swallowed it. That was for comic effect. You're probably going, oh, you're a disgusting person. Yeah, I am. I never said I was a non-disgusting person, did I? Where'd you get that idea from? How dare you? But yeah, look, millennials, it's time to stop whining. Point of adversity is just to look for opportunity. You know, when the whole world is against you, go hard or go home. And where's home? Well, a lot of them just want to crawl back into their mother and get in the womb and go like that. Yeah, that's not the way. Hey, man, stop dressing up as Pokemon at Christmas and stuff. Grow up.